Welcome to the realm of intoxicating flavors and head-banging beer reviews.
What's up, everybody? It's the Ginger Yeti, and I'm checking in from home. What I have for you today is a beer that I didn't realize what it was when I purchased it. I saw this beer here. I'm like, oh, cool, like a polka-related beer. That's kind of different. Polka King, Gus Polinski. I'm like, wonder who that is. Picked it up. Didn't even realize what the reference is until looking at the beer this evening. So this is it's called the Polka King of the Midwest. It's a cinnamon and spice ale. And this is from 903 Brewers. And on the side of the can here, it says Gus Polinski and the Kenosha Kickers, playing all the fairly well-known hits from the 70s. And it's got this picture right here of a fine young gentleman. If you don't know who that is or what this reference is, I'm about to explain it to you. So this is a Home Alone reference. And I didn't realize it when I first bought the can, but when I was looking at the can this afternoon, I was like, oh my God, I think this is it. So it's a Home Alone reference, and Gus Polinski was played by John Candy, the late great John Candy. And if you remember the movie, or if you don't, when they were at the Scranton airport on Christmas Eve, Gus and the Kenosha Kickers were waiting for a band member to rent a truck to drive them to Milwaukee. And after their flight was canceled. And while they were waiting, Gus noticed Kate McAllister arguing with customer service agents, trying to find a flight. And when he overheard that Kate was unable to fly because all the flights were fully booked, Gus offered to drive her to Chicago with his band, which she gratefully accepted. And that's what this reference is. Really cool picture of what's supposed to look like John Candy on there. So this is a much cooler beer than I thought it was when I bought it. Originally, I just thought it was going to be some weird polka beer. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting, a beer referencing polka. Pick it up. And lo and behold, it's much cooler than it is, than I thought it was. Now, there's a little blurb on the side of the can here I think I can read. Polka King of the Midwest, Cinnamon and Spice Ale. Allow us to introduce the Polka King of the Midwest. This cheerful ale plays the greatest hits with toasted malts, affable balance, and a chipper dose of cinnamon spice. Approachable and delicate sweetness, bready maltness, and earthy noble hops lend support to heartfelt additions of cinnamon and nutmeg. In this ale, friendly flavors do a polka dance with seasonal vibes. The Polka King of the Midwest boasts big charm, good nature, and embodies the holiday spirit. It's 5% alcohol, or 5.8% alcohol, I'm sorry about that. No IBUs listed. And it says it pairs with Kiss Me Polka, Polka Twist, Polka, Polka, Polka. I mean, that's really cool. And this is, like I said, from 903 Brewers out of Sherman, Texas. And this is just like a really cool find. I didn't realize what I had until I picked it up this evening. Purchased this a couple weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, actually, at Rozi's Wine House for $2.25. And on the bottom of the can here, there is a date. Can't quite read it because it's over the rim, but it does say something 24. So hopefully it's still in date. I didn't even realize this was like a cinnamon spiced ale. I thought it was just going to be some lager or something else like that. But I'm now really excited to get into it. So let's open it up here. Got to move this price tag off the mouth of the can since Rosie's always puts them there. It's not even a good place to put it. I'll put it at the bottom in case I need to reference it later. On Untappd, I actually had an issue trying to find it at first because I thought this was called the Gus Polinski and the Kenosha Kickers. I thought that's what the beer was called. But then I realized it's actually called Polka King of the Midwest. But if you look at Untappd, some people have checked it in as the Gus Polinski and the Kenosha Kickers. But it is actually called the Polka King of the Midwest. So this gets a 3.65 on Untappd with 1.1 thousand check-ins. On Beer Advocate, it was an NA. And that started to foam up out of the can a little bit. Like I said, I think I picked this up in mid-November. So it should still be good. I mean, it's only been sitting in my fridge for about a month and a half. Shouldn't be too bad for a beer. Get a nose on her. Oh yeah, you get the cinnamon and the nutmeg for sure. And that head is very active. It sounds like a polka going off in the beer. But that's a nice ruby red kind of beer there. Somewhat see-through. I think on my SRM chart, I'd probably give that about a 12 on the SRMs. And again, I was expecting this to be more of a lager when I first bought it. So I'm a little bit surprised at the color, but knowing it's a cinnamon and spiced ale, not as much surprised. And that's still got 2+ fingers of tan, khaki-ish colored head. And it's fizzing away loudly. A lot of small, tiny bubbles turn into big fisheye bubbles, and it's just turning into kind of a pillowy head. But that's a nice looking beer. If I realized this was a Christmas beer, I probably would have done it for Christmas. But it is what it is, right? So let's check out this Polka King of the Midwest, see if it's as good as John Candy was in the movie. Cheers, everybody. That's nice cinnamon. That's almost... I almost feel like there's cinnamon in my mouth. Like when you have if you make cinnamon toast and you kind of get that gritty, grainy feeling from eating it. And the cinnamon is almost like that in this, which is really nice. This is a nice cinnamon beer. I mean, a little bit of the nutmeg. A little bit of nutmeg. Nice cinnamon flavor. Easy to drink, light-bodied, crisp. This is a great beer, and this is a really cool find. I mean, I'm really happy. I always love finding these, like, movie beers, TV beers, anything along that line. Of course, music beers. But it's really a shock to find a beer like this and think it's just something dumb, and then realize it's actually a really cool beer can. So, this beer, the Polka King of the Midwest, give you a big horns up. Gus Polinski and the Kenosha Kickers give you all a big horns up. John Candy, man, you were gone too soon. You were such a great actor. Loved all the movies you were in. And super cool to find this can. So, normally I'd end this with embrace the adventure, but I have a viewer who keeps asking me to chug the beer at the end of the review. And I'm terrible at chugging beers, but I'm going to attempt to chug what's left of this for that viewer. Hope you found this video and see it and appreciate my attempt. I'm terrible at chugging, and down the hatch, embrace the adventure. Hope that was the chug you wanted to see.